At the sprawling new electric vehicle battery plant in Bryan County, Georgia, workers moved with purpose, installing state-of-the-art machinery and laying the foundation for what many hoped would be a new era of American-made cars. The air buzzed with anticipation as the facility promised not just innovation, but a future filled with opportunity for the region. This massive factory, a joint venture between Hyundai and LG, stood as a symbol of progress and the promise of thousands of future jobs. Local communities watched with pride as the project grew, seeing it as a beacon of economic revival and technological leadership in the South. But in September 2025, that optimism was shattered. Federal agents, in a move that stunned the community, raided the site in broad daylight, sending shockwaves through the workforce and the industry. ICE, Homeland Security, and the FBI descended on the plant, targeting migrant workers who had become essential to the plant's rapid construction. Many of these workers had traveled far, drawn by the promise of steady work and a chance to be part of something historic. The operation was swift and chaotic. Hundreds of workers were detained, and the site was thrown into disarray. Projects were abandoned midstream, with tools and materials left scattered as confusion and fear spread among those left behind. Among the 475 detained were over 300 South Korean technicians and engineers. Their expertise was not just important, it was vital for the plant's advanced equipment and the complex systems that powered the facility. Their sudden absence left a gaping hole in the project's workforce. With so many key personnel gone, the multi-billion-dollar project ground to a halt. Construction machinery sat idle, and the once busy factory floor became eerily silent, unfinished equipment gathering dust. The companies faced a catastrophic disruption, scrambling to assess the damage and find a path forward. Meanwhile, the workers, both local and foreign, were left in limbo, their futures uncertain and their livelihoods suddenly at risk. What began as a local enforcement action quickly spiraled into an international incident, drawing intense media scrutiny and igniting debates about immigration, labor, and global business. The shockwaves from this single day in Georgia soon reached the highest levels of government in both Washington and Seoul, as officials scrambled to respond to the growing crisis and its potential impact on international relations. The stage was set for a major economic and diplomatic showdown, one that would test alliances, challenge policies, and reshape the future of American industry. The Georgia raid exposed a contradiction in President Trump's policies. His administration had championed "Made in America," encouraging foreign giants like Hyundai to invest and create jobs, yet the same administration enforced strict immigration laws, detaining the very experts needed for these projects. After the raid, Trump first defended the arrests, then abruptly shifted, asking the detained South Korean workers to stay and train Americans. South Korea rejected the offer, prioritizing the safe return of its citizens. The incident revealed a deep conflict, the desire for foreign investment clashing with hardline immigration enforcement. One moment, workers were treated as illegal immigrants. The next, as essential trainers. The whiplash left both companies and governments scrambling for clarity. The confusion highlighted the need for a coherent policy that supports both investment and skilled labor. The fallout from the crisis sent shockwaves through the global auto industry, and nowhere was the impact felt more than at Hyundai's headquarters. Executives scrambled to contain the damage, as uncertainty pushed Hyundai to the brink of a major decision. Just a month earlier, Hyundai had proudly unveiled a $26 billion U.S. investment plan, promising to create tens of thousands of new jobs and revitalize local economies across several states. But now, with its skilled workers unexpectedly detained, and U.S. immigration policies suddenly in question, Hyundai's leadership was forced to reconsider its entire American strategy almost overnight. The company issued a stark warning: if the environment remained unstable, it might have no choice but to scale back operations, or even exit the U.S. market entirely, putting thousands of jobs and billions in investment at risk. This was more than a business dispute. It was a direct challenge to U.S. policymakers. Protect our workers and provide certainty, or risk losing our investment and the economic benefits that come with it. South Korea's president echoed Hyundai's warning in a rare public statement, emphasizing that without a reliable, predictable way for technical experts to enter the country, future investment from Korean companies could dry up. The message was clear: advanced factories depend on highly skilled technicians, and the current U.S. visa system simply wasn't keeping up with the demands of modern manufacturing. If the United States truly wants to lead the world in next-generation manufacturing, it must address this disconnect and ensure that talent can flow where it's needed most. Otherwise, the flow of foreign capital and the high-quality jobs it creates could slow to a trickle, or even stop altogether, leaving communities and industries in jeopardy. The stakes had never been higher, and the world was watching to see what the US would do next. Hyundai's threat isn't just a corporate problem, it's a risk to American jobs and the economy. The Georgia plant alone was set to create over 8,000 direct jobs, with many more in supply chains and local businesses. If Hyundai pulls out, thousands of jobs vanish before they begin. And existing plants in Alabama and beyond could be at risk. The ripple effect would hit consumers too: fewer cars, higher prices, and less competition. Hyundai's leadership in electric vehicles would be lost, stalling America's clean energy goals. The US would become more dependent on imports, undermining energy independence. The dream of American leadership in green technology would be threatened, all because of a conflict over skilled workers. The consequences would be felt nationwide. The crisis quickly became a diplomatic emergency. South Korea's government, under pressure to protect its citizens and companies, sent Foreign Minister Cho Hyun to Washington for urgent talks with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. The key proposal: create a bilateral working group to establish a specialized visa for skilled Korean workers in advanced manufacturing. This would provide a clear legal path for the experts needed to build and operate these plants. Secretary Rubio responded positively, agreeing to review the idea. While no final deal was reached, both sides committed to continued dialogue. The talks offered hope for a solution, and a way to repair the damage. Both nations knew that failure could jeopardize billions in investment and a vital alliance. The Hyundai raid exposed a deeper flaw in America's immigration system. Companies investing in the US struggle with outdated, inflexible visa options for essential foreign talent. Traditional visas like H-1B are capped and unreliable. Business visas are too restrictive. These experts aren't taking permanent jobs. They're here to install equipment and train Americans, then return home. The lack of a suitable visa forces companies into legal gray areas, leaving workers vulnerable to enforcement. The result: a high-risk environment that discourages investment and damages America's reputation. After the raid, some South Korean workers called the US unsafe, making future recruitment harder. Without reform, the US risks losing its edge in advanced manufacturing. The Hyundai crisis sent a warning to other foreign automakers and investors. If Hyundai's operations can be disrupted, what's stopping it from happening to others? The fear of unpredictable enforcement is making international companies rethink US expansion. A domino effect is possible. If Hyundai pulls back, others may follow, slowing foreign investment and job growth. The American auto market, reliant on global supply chains, is especially vulnerable. Companies like Toyota, Honda, and BMW may pause new projects, threatening US manufacturing competitiveness. Fewer competitors and less domestic production mean higher prices and fewer choices for consumers. The shockwaves from Georgia have revealed just how interconnected and fragile the system is. The next moves by global companies will show if the US remains a reliable partner or becomes a risky bet. As of October 18, 2025, the future of Hyundai's US investment and the broader auto market remains uncertain. The stakes are high, with billions of dollars and thousands of jobs hanging in the balance. The auto industry is a cornerstone of the American economy, and any disruption could have far-reaching consequences. If the US and South Korea reach a new visa agreement, confidence could be restored and investment back on track. Such an agreement would not only benefit Hyundai, but also set a positive precedent for other international companies looking to invest in the US. But if talks fail, Hyundai may divert its $26 billion plan elsewhere, costing thousands of jobs and undermining the Made in America agenda. The ripple effects would be felt across the industry, from suppliers to dealerships, and could even impact consumer confidence. For Americans, this means fewer jobs, higher car prices, and a setback for electric vehicle leadership. The US has been striving to lead in the electric vehicle market, and any disruption could allow competitors to gain an edge. The crisis is a lesson. Economic nationalism and investment-friendly policies must work together. Lawmakers need to find a balance that encourages foreign investment while protecting American interests. You can't invite foreign companies to build the future, then arrest the experts they need. Skilled workers are essential for innovation and growth, and their contributions should be valued. The US must choose to create a clear, reliable system for skilled workers, or risk driving away the investment it needs. The decision will have long-term implications for the country's economic health and global competitiveness. That choice will shape the future of the American auto industry for years to come. The path forward is uncertain, but the decisions made today will determine the industry's trajectory.